1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Dear Lord. Do 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 do. Oh, dear Lord. Pouring down the shadows. Oh my dear Lord. Do 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 do. Oh my dear Lord. Alright, so it's been a while since I played Magic. Honestly, Brawl's been the only format I've been playing much at all the last month or better. And overall, I haven't really played Arena much other than a couple daily quests here and there the last 3 weeks. My stepson was up here visiting us, so had some fun with him. So streaming wasn't a priority, but we're back. This week, another deck from MTG Josh. They put out like a number of interesting decks, and unfortunately I really haven't played much Eye of Eternity literally since the pre-release, so I'm not as familiar with the stuff in that set. So I figured we'd play with a deck that you might see across from the table, whether it be Commander, whether it be Brawl, and that is Etali. Now Etali is at its core a ramp deck that just tries to use the Commander to gain an absurd amount of advantage. Whenever you cast it, each player, whenever it enters, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until you hit a non-land card. You may cast any of those number of non-land spells without paying a mana cost. Obviously, absurd things attached to a 7/7 dumb dino. And then the flip side, trample and indestructible, and then it gets poison counters. So this thing, combines some things Magic players don't like, which is free value and the ability to kill in one shot, plus a 7/7 if you're playing typical Commander, closes out a game really quickly anyway. So basically, Blightsteel Colossus attached to nigh infinite value, especially in a multiplayer game. The rest of the deck is going to be about keeping yourself alive and ramping. So most of the deck can be broken down into interacting with your opponent's early creatures, trying to stay staying alive, and then ramping, and then eventually you'll hit some very powerful things. The one thing with this deck being a bit of a budget deck, you're going to see like a lot of like very weird big top end things like Greater Sandworm, Tiger. I mean, these things aren't things you'd typically consider threats, but the fact that they're commons and uncommons that are big beaters, most of your value cards in these decks are going to be in like your Ragavans, your Birds of Paradises, your Delighted Halflings. So while you are still using a decent amount of wild cards in a deck like this, most of what you're doing, most of the value is in your ramp cards and things and stuff. You're going to be playing in multiple any green decks anyway, and whether it's these interaction spells, Anger of the Gods, Brotherhood's End. So we'll see how this is. The problem is Etali is a top end commander, so we may actually run into a lot of decks that are playing awesome stuff while we're playing kind of generic beaters other than Etali itself. So I don't know that we'll pick up many wins, but we'll at least have some stupid plays based on Etali alone. The only practice game I played earlier, I ran into Ugin, and Ugin is kind of they're a slower ramp deck, but they're almost a direct counter to what we're doing, because basically Ugin kills Etali, and then every free spell they cast from there also kills Etali. So, and obviously in the colors we're playing, we're not exactly rife with answers to planeswalkers. Alright, so we have some ramp, which is pretty much what you're looking for in your opening hand. Interaction, ramp. Our opponent is, never a permanent is put in the graveyard, put +1/+1 counter on Saruf. Your upkeep has one or more counters on it. You may remove all of them. Exile each other non-land permanent with mana value less than or equal to the number of counters removed this way. So we will keep. Our opponent leads on a Burb. We'll go ahead and play Mountain out. Rampant Growth. So yeah, we're both kind of doing the same thing. So now I could play Glimpse the Core, or I could play Lotus Cobra here. Kind of hope we untap with Lotus Cobra. If they have like Suraf into like Fatal Push or something, it would kind of suck, but okay, so pour me a double shot of whiskey, oh my dear Lord, oh my. Got that wonderful whiskey song stuck in my head because we went to the Demolition Derby this weekend on Friday. Glimpse the Core. Oh my dear Lord. Yeah, you're really not going to like me after this. They may have a protection spell for Seraph here, which is kind of annoying. Feign Death, sure. So 3, 4, 6, 7. So we get to play Etali next turn. Okay, so they cultivate. They're also a ramp deck. 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Oh my dear Lord. Do pour a double shot of whiskey. My dear Lord. Alright, so I don't think it matters what color we name. Go ahead and play Etali here. I'm gonna be surprised if it gets immediately killed. Ooh, my dear Lord. I'm gonna put Big Dumb Dino, that's the name. Oh my dear Lord. Okay, so I can assume, nope, okay. So I counter with that, this one's counter on. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to kill that. I mean, that said, they might be trying to get us to waste our mana transforming it for a turn. It's one of the things, Etali isn't necessarily the... most complicated deck in the world to play, and our opponent is kind of doing something similar. I mean, let's see if our opponent sacks anything here. Let's get a kill too. Yep. Destroy target creature, draw a card. Shocker. Yep. lose some stuff, but we don't really rebuy anything from our graveyard anyway. Buy ourselves a little bit of time. Kill Garuk. Guess who's back? Back again. Etali's back. Oh, I'm thrilled. Oh my dear Lord. Oh my dear Lord. Alright. Deal our opponent some damage. Etali is just one of those cards that it's obnoxious for anybody on the table. Like, we've cast it 3 times this game. And we get to cast it again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So add the mana. Cast Etali again. Oops, I did it again. I played with your deck. I said deck, just so we're clear. Oh my dear Lord. Yep. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? So that's a land planet. Interesting. Gotta take Obliterating Bolt here, or you're just basically dead. Cards equal to sacrifice creature power. Activate only as a sorcery. It's terrifying. Yeah, this one is interesting. We haven't seen too many new cards out of it, but in some ways it almost feels like it plays like a almost like the that Sultai commander that deals damage and plays off the top of your opponent's deck. I mean, not the same, but they feel like they play a similar, like, ramp-ish, do things strategy. Oh my dear Lord. Here comes the 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I guess we have to do the alternative cast. And GG. Killed our opponent with poison and with damage. Yeah, Codis. No, just more, well, I guess in some ways, yes, flexing, but more wanting to just do it. Do it! Oh my. Oh, okay, so you're playing against Shouldered. We have no green mana, so I don't think we can keep this one. Free mulligan. This one's fine. Don't think this is the best hand against them, but we will do what we can. Just like the Jurassic period. No, I got I can't remember the name of the song. It's the one where pour me a double shot of whiskey, oh my dear Lord. Stuck in my head since listening to it on at the Demolition Derby on Friday. Yeah, this a little bit of a slow hand, but against black you can't really afford to yeah, I almost said against black you can't afford to migraine. Okay. Almost cast. So now I gotta decide. Do I take the time out to just kill this stupid thing? Or do I ramp? What could possibly go wrong? Well, no, that backed up with shoulder it is just kind of... Oh my dear Lord. So we could play Etali. I don't know what we're hoping for here. I mean, we can only kill one of the creatures max this turn, so I think we play Etali and kind of hope and pray we get a little bit lucky off the top of the decks. Oh, this will be fun. Fortunately, it doesn't kill anything, so... Okay. Don't think we're winning this game, but Arch Enemy's Charm. So we've seen what? Gix's Command out of the last opponent, and now Arch Enemy's Charm out of this one. Black has some pretty sweet options as to different things it can do. Two, three, four. Okay, they're gonna cast Murderous Rider. Force our opponent to decide what they're going to do here. Wonder if they can play enough spells to kill us this turn. Oh, yeah. That would be qualified as something that kills us, so. Great Merchant of Asphodel. One to the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Mono Black Commander, are you running now anymore, Dale? Xenagos, God of Revels. Should be an interesting hand. Deal. Go ahead and play Burby. Commander. So I would not mind seeing a ramp spell here. Or sorry, not even a ramp spell. Wouldn't have mind seeing a removal spell there. Oh my. I think we're about to get run over by the superior Gruul deck. If player entered this turn, draw a card. So 4, 5, 6. Just would be grateful if this wasn't indestructible. Guess we ramp and hope to live. Seems a little bit ambitious. It's the one that gives everything your opponent controls 1 toughness permanently, doesn't it? Yikes. Oh. Pretty sure that's lethal. They can put like a Birds of Paradise. Yeah, that'll do it, because then Xenagod becomes... No, I didn't have fun. No! Oh my dear Lord. And then Brawl, you play T-Grid, don't you? Man, apparently we're in the mono black bracket tonight. Staying alive, staying alive, staying alive. I think we need Rants and a mulligan. Well, we're keeping this one, but it's kind of suspect to try to rely on any type of creatures against mono black. But there's a card that can take over a game. Hey, hey, it's the monkey. Do you have a fatal push, cut down, something to kill it? Guess we'll find out in a minute. OG Tiny Bones. Yeah, T-Grid's just... they play Ancient Tomb? Alright. I forgot that was a thing on Arena now. Oh my dear Lord. I love the art on some of these things, though. I have Eternity had some really awesome... Eve Eternity. Okay. Pretty soon we'll have no hand, no board. Guess. Not sure which one we actually pitch here. This is going to be a very quick game, unfortunately. Okay. Mono black turns the games very obnoxious very quickly. So we're going to need to hit something Another 4-mana ramp spell off the top would be nice, but unfortunately one of them is already in the yard, and the other one is in our hand about to be discarded. Momentum Breaker. Yep, opponent gets to cut our resources in half here if they choose. Probably be smart to tick Liliana up one more time, but they're just gonna do their thing. We had a chance there if it would have hit it. That's like one of the things with mono black versus ramp, or like any type of rock-based deck against ramp. The execution is basically the ramp deck tries to ramp out and then play off find a big bomb off the top, and then the other side of the equation, you're trying to keep the ramp deck from getting off the ground. The games where you can execute keeping the ramp deck from getting off the ground, you live. The games where you don't, you die, so. This is a ramp spell that I very much debate. Like in this matchup, it's not terrible, because you don't have to worry about the mono green opponent really killing your stuff very much, but same time, the opponent gets to go with Zusa, play 2 lands. Yeah. So. So our opponent is out of lands, it looks like. Okay, Furious Rise is not a terrible card. Opponent gets to ramp like crazy here because they just get to replay Cabarati Courtyard a couple times. So if they have any really dumb things in their hand, they can play it next turn. So if they're rocking any Eldrazi or anything, I think our literal only path to victory here is Etali and kill them. Sure. Has to be something in exile, so I'm guessing Eldrazi. Otherwise, they're just likely dead. Of course. Wouldn't be a game if it wasn't a freaking Eugene. Pretty sure that leaves us dead on board. Because they can just fire up... Oh no, we're not playing that game. Nah, I'm good. I don't want to get strip mined like 4 times in a turn. Why did they think that'd be a good card to put on Arena? Those of you who don't know, that strip mine is basically tap, destroy target land. And since they have the ability to replay lands from the graveyard, they can just literally go like replay Azusa and strip mine us down to the point where we can't cast anything. And honestly, they didn't even need to strip mine us. All they literally had to do was fire up their stupid man land and kill us there. But I think we'll try this one. We've got Brotherhood's End, Farseek, Beseju, so we have some decent ramp. Yeah. It's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, that wasn't a smart thing to do. They really keep a one-lander? They did? No, okay. I'm gonna get run over. I'm gonna get run over. Hoping they double spell here. Werewolves equal meep meep. Dead to Exaxes. Yeah. They were doing some lines. I mean, Ancient Tomb's already, like, pushing it. I guess the one nice thing about Ancient Tomb is since you already have Ugin's Lab, it allows more decks to have that kind of, like, more of the busted commander openings. But we'll try this one. Okay, so we get to strangle here. Okay, that one's scary. I believe it taps for 2 mana, right? Commercial District. Not a huge fan of Decimate, just because, especially in these 1v1 duels, you often don't have all the targets you want. It's almost unfair. So one of the downsides of taking the more creature-based approach to ramp is you're infinitely more vulnerable to your opponent's removal spells. The only time I really like the creature-based ramp in green over the spell-based ramp like Farseek and such is generally when you're playing a deck that's like elves or, like, for instance, Cabarati, the Naya commander that allows you to tutor for things, things that are already heavily creature based anyway. Not sure what this deck's going to be up to, but we have quite the ability to ramp, so I think we're going to take advantage of it. Though we are going to be a little bit slow out of the gate game or turn one, because we have 2 tapped green sources basically. This basically gets to act like Arboreal Grazer. Our opponent's head exploded. Boom! That's one of the advantages of Flare of Cultivation over just regular Cultivate, is when you get kind of those little bit of nutty openings. But I play it in my Mimeoplasm deck, and I don't have as many early green creatures as I would like yet. So often it's just like an awkward Cultivate in that deck, but still can be pretty sweet overall. Like if you get to go, like, especially when you're playing a deck with the Cultivator and Arboreal Grazer. Another rock deck. Well, we'll try it. I don't see this elf lasting for very long, but I think we'll go Thunderspire, Verge, Cycle, Generous, End, and then next turn we'll play like this into commercial district. Or sorry, play commercial district. Turn this on. Sure, we'll leave that on top. To play next turn, regardless if they blow up our thing or not. Big Dumb Dino, that's the name. Oh, joy. Alright. Guess we get rid of a braid here. Oh my dear Lord. Okay. We'll get rid of Roaming Throne. Hopefully they can't make us discard our last card. You discard your Velgavoth, I get it back with your own Reanimate. Like I said, we may not win a lot of matches, but Etali can do some stupid things. Like you were prepared for my Etali, but you were not prepared for your own Velgavoth coming back. Oh my dear Lord, another double shot of whiskey. Oh my dear Lord. So Thrasius and Tymna. Don't you have this combination of stuff? Yeah, we'll keep it. No idea what to expect of them. Dinosaur. But nevertheless, you do run Thrasius. See if they have to take out the big dumb dino. Oh my dear Lord. Another double shot of whiskey. Oh my dear Lord. Well, that's most unfortunate. Sure. Land, please. Trigger. Okay. Well. We both deface. We swords the thing. These are a few of my favorite things. Beat our opponents down for funsies. They must concede 'cause Etali's a dumb card when you don't perfectly curve out. And as far as back to reality. Oops, there goes gravity. Yep, I know I can't sing. As far as T-Grid's probably good like Brawl, or like Brawl when you just want to farm random wins because your opponent doesn't want to play the matches. So we're against an elf deck. I guess we keep the non-ramp hand just because we get to kill all the elves. Elves are all you need. Elves are all you need. This is what? Okay, that's a sorcery speed, so... Shocker. Our opponent has no, that's a halfling. Not an elf, but basically an elf. Play commercial district. We need land drops, but... it's possible we should be ramping here over killing their stuff, but you're also never quite sure. That's very true. Tigrid's a good a-hole deck, basically. But then again, you have plenty of those anyway with the LD deck and several other things, so. Not like you're lacking in the, oh, I'm going to piss you off decks now. Alright, so Roaming Throne. Okay, so we're going to end up killing Gwenna here and playing Furious Rise, I think. I could play Archaeomancer, but I think we're just going to go ahead and kill Gwenna. Play Furious Rise. The next turn we play, if we draw nothing... If we draw a land, we can play both of these. Bells, get +1/+1. Is there any reason to play Breakout? Wah, 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 wah. It's one card that I was kind of questioning its inclusion in the deck. Doesn't feel like there's quite enough creatures in the deck. Yeah, the L's deck starts to go nuts. Kind of broken. Okay, here comes prime time. think we're beyond the point where this is going to matter, but we'll at least try. That on the stack first. That on the stack next. Gotta love the random arena nonsense, like... See, Fraley's... Okay, Warren collects, yay. Warren collects almost makes Chandra useless. One's got all the mana in the world. So we're basically dead next turn to... See, that's dumb. I think if you seek a card, you should have to shuffle the top of your deck. But... They don't want the guaranteed win? I'm not sure if I agree with that attack. I just feel like this alone forces through enough damage that I have to make unfavorable blocks next turn. I don't know. Ma. Not going to play Chandra here. Once again, it just kind of gets... dealt with by... See, I think they should have sought an elf card first before they played Beast Whisperer, but... I think we're just slowly going to get ground out here. Okay, draw a card. Okay. Alright, yeah, that's, presume they can go get Critter Hoof here? Yep. Kaboom! Do 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 do. But, I mean, once again, MTG Josh has some great deck lists. This one, you know, it's not the most powerful version of Etali you're going to see, but, I mean, it's effectively doing what you want an Etali deck to do, which is just ramp, play Etali. I hope that's good enough. Some of the card choices, like Decimate, like, even in multiplayer games, you know, actual Commander, or when they eventually get 4-player or multiplayer on this client. I don't like a conditional card that you have to have each of the targets in play, because not every opponent is playing a significant amount of, you know, enchantments. Not everybody's, I mean, most people are playing some amount of artifacts, like usually somebody's playing an Arcane Signet or something. And obviously most people are playing creatures and lands. So really enchantment is the one that makes me go, not the hugest fan of this card. Like, I understand it's a pretty good utility when you can hit it. It's a 4-for-1. But I feel like you can do better than this. I mean, the deck is very simple in what it's doing, but that's not necessarily a terrible thing. In Commander and Brawl, sometimes you just want something that's consistent. Obviously, you know, if you want to put some more money into this deck, you can play things like Primeval Titan. You can play some of the Eldrazi's. You could even play Xenagod. You know, there's a lot of things you can add to the top end here that are so much better than. There's just one weird card, Sand. I want to say it's from, yeah, Sandworm Convergence is another, like, random weird green bomb. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. Beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 worm. You know, there's a lot of different things you can change up with these decks. But the general strategy of ramp into Etali is pretty solid. Most of the money you're going to be putting in, or most of the resources you're going to be putting into a deck like this, is the ramp. You know, whether it's Birds of Paradise, Delighted Halfling, you know, Land of War Elves, Elvish Mystic. Obviously, if you're playing it in paper, you can afford to run some of the other cheap 1-mana elves. I think there's, Finhorn Elves, a couple other 1-mana 1/1 elves, so you don't have to even play something like Ragavan necessarily. It's just a nice, powerful bomb you can sometimes play. Another one I'm not terribly crazy of is Emergent Sequence. It's possible that there aren't enough 2-mana ramp spells on Arena that you have to play something like this. You know, there's not like other Farseeks or I forget what the one that's Rampant Growths, those kind of style effects. So if you want 2-mana ramp, I guess you also play Arcane Signet technically. I'm not a fan of, you know, getting land out of your deck and then immediately turning on your opponent's removal spells, when for a lot of the way this deck plays, yes, you have Land of War Elves and these that your opponents can kill, but other than the mana dorks, there really isn't a lot of good targets in the mid game, or like mana costs 2 through 5 for your opponent to kill. So it really sucks that your ramp gets immediately killed, when you're not playing it on turn 1. And even Birds of Paradise, Delayed Halfling, these ones. Whereas Kami and Arboreal Grazer, if they die once they put the land in play, who cares, pretty much. Panharmonicon, Roaming Throne, make your Tully more powerful. Just a matter of, even the ramp spells you're playing, or your bombs like this, Chef at Monitor, these can be used as ramp spells. There's a couple other ones out there in the... I even have a version of the deck. I don't even know if I have a Quintorius deck right now. But there's other ones that get played in the Quintorius decks in Modern, or not Modern, in Pioneer, that you can cycle to ramp. I don't think those would be terrible, like mid-game things. But yeah, these ones that are cycling for lands or cycling for ramp, none of that is terrible. So you kind of have this like land drops with them also being not really bombs, but something to play with your ramp spells. I think this deck is really well put together for just doing that. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight. We will be back to live streaming every week now. So I want to thank my brother for hanging out, my lovely wife for putting up with me streaming, and anybody else that was viewing in our viewing audience. Hopefully we'll be actually getting into EOE stuff next week, even though I know that set's been out for a little while. I'm going to hopefully find a deck or two that I like of some of the really powerful nonsense that came out of that set. So anyways, hope to see everybody next week. This has been John for MTG Nexus, and I will see you next live stream.